here. So we'll be giving away the trivia here after this match. And we have Tim up a game, or we have Feline up a game?
Feline up a game.
Okay, very good.
All right.
So here we go. Rug Delver away.
Let's check out the sideboards of our...
we at least see Red Elemental Blast being brought in here
by
Tim, which is obviously an easy card to sideboard in. Let's see if we can get to Tim's deck list in front of us. There you are, my friend.
Yep.
Rug Delver, pretty standard probably, right?
He's got 2 Red Blast, a Pyroblast, a Spell Pierce, and a Mind Break Trap in the sideboard, all of which are quite good here.
Yeah, well, that's quite a few cards. Wow.
Yeah.
This is what I would consider to be one of the poorer matchups for High Tide, right?
Yeah, in theory. I mean, you know, the clock plus soft counter recipe is traditionally very good against these combo decks.
Oh.
Especially since High Tide definitely cares about things like Spell Pierce and Daze. Because
Yeah.
it's very mana sensitive the turn it's trying to go off.
Taking a look at this High Tide deck list, there's 6, 12, 15, 18 lands here. 3 Mr. Rainforest, 3 Scalding Tarns, and 12 islands. Usual suspects here of High Tide, Candelabra of Tawnos, Time Spiral, a couple interesting one-ofs in the main deck with Wipe Away, Snap, Meditate, typically a one-of, and Turnabout as well. And you got your Cunning Wishes, a couple main deck Fluster Storms, and 4 main deck Merchant Scrolls, along with Force of Will, Brainstorm, Ponder, and Preordain.
Nothing too fancy. I know that a lot of the High Tide lists have started going down to 3 Candelabras, but nothing out of the ordinary there, really.
Yeah. In Feline's sideboard, there's additional Fluster Storm. There's also 4 Pack Negations as well to protect when going off. Blue Sun Zenith, the win condition in the sideboard. Intuition, Meditate, Turnabout, Rebuild, Snap, Wipe Away, Surgical Extraction as Cunning Wish targets.
Yep. So we're going to see a Brainstorm and Ponder sort of acting as a fetch land would in these circumstances, allowing Feline to put back 2 Stankers and get a redraw. I think she's currently lacking a 3rd land.
So you can draw one.
Another cantrip. Although I'm not positive. The blue sleeves plus blue cards make it very hard to distinguish what's actually going on
the
there.
blue table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blue shirt.
Yeah. Could be playing any deck.
Yeah.
So now we see
Brainstorm.
a Brainstorm in the main phase.
There's a Stifle.
A Volcanic and a Force of Will, so some good draws there.
Yep.
Another Force of Will as well.
Yeah, we have no shuffle effect, so we're basically looking at a Stifle plus 2 Force of Wills and a bunch of lands to try to hold off all of Feline's combo here. Another issue is that it's going to take him a very long time to get to Threshold. He might actually end up in a spot where he needs to wasteland one of his own dual lands to get the clock to be of a sufficient speed.
And in we go. We gotta get those new Amongeese a little bit bigger, but we're almost there.
Gotta unloosen the goose. Right now it is kind of held in captivity, awaiting adulthood.
Interestingly enough, Tim's hand is, fine or whatever. It's not great though.
Oh yeah, and the issue here is the lack of shuffle plus just not having much of a clock. I mean, it is very hard to hold off High Tide with 3 active elements that he has. Now, fortunately, even if Feline spirals, he has a lot of live drops in his deck between the Red Blasts and the Mind Break Trap.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be in the position where you're hoping to, you're hoping that you're drawing well off of opposing time spirals, because traditionally that deck draws a lot better than you do once it's starting to go.
Yep. We're going to see a Cunning Wish here on the end step.
Yep.
So
I don't believe this is force worthy because I think Tim's plan at this point is to play a 5th land, so he has access to Force of Will plus Force of Will Stifle. So he has 2 counters at the ready, which means he's sort of committed to not. I mean, he could still force pitching Stifle, I suppose.
You see a Turnabout here.
Mm-hmm.
Turnabout, a card that can tap all of Tim's lands. You see a 4th island here as well. So again, Feline is sitting pretty on life.
Yeah, again,
We're going to see a Preordain here.
Yep. We're looking at a fetch land, and
it's a mystery. It is no longer a mystery. It's another
a
Preordain.
Assuming she's not trying to go off this turn, you can just take the Preordain and try again.
Yeah.
No,
Ponder this
pondering.
turn.
Okay. Into ponder. Pact of negation.
So manipulating, getting set up. There's another nimble mongoose
Boom.
drawn.
Another 2-spot.
Yep. This guy's need some help. Okay, so there's a wasteland. Okay.
Yep.
So
So he can hard cast his force. He can also try to wasteland himself to get to threshold.
Yeah.
But I have a bad feeling about this game for Tim. Because, Feline's had some unmolested turns to sculpt her hand, and this generally does not bode well. Just drew a surgical extraction.
In we go again.
Surgical's best role in the matchup is to tag a high tide.
Yeah.
Because the high tide deck traditionally needs to be resolving additional, and I actually would let this resolve because it doesn't change, assuming that she's turnaboutting his lands, it doesn't change the amount that he's able to counter.
Sure.
But the high tide deck often needs to be resolving multiple high tides over the course of going off to generate sufficient mana to do everything. And so it's actually kind of tricky at times to play around surgical extraction. Not impossible. You can sort of manual style it with your candelabras and whatever, but if you are sloppy about it, surgical extraction can be a huge beating.
Yeah, it can just break everything up.
Yep.
It's an interesting way to go about doing it, but it can be done. So we're going to see a surgical extraction here, aforementioned card, and to see what he's going to remove.
I'm not sure what the incentive is to fire it off right now.
I'm not sure what's in the graveyard here. My assumption is it's just like Brainstorm, Ponders, Preordains, and like that one turnabout is still on the stack. It's actually not in the graveyard, but
Yep.
wouldn't really want to remove that anyway, right?
Yeah. Especially with your hand, if you're in Tim's position, your hand's like pretty bad for the situation. What are we getting here?
No,
We got
I think it's
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm. So we see a High Tide, we see a Force of Will, we see looks like some not a Fluster Storms as well, and a
That's
Time
a time
Spiral.
spiral, high tide. Yeah, I mean this is. I don't think. I would be surprised if Tim got another turn.
Oh, I feel like we're going for it this turn, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
With protection, it will be interesting though.
Yeah, with Tim's hand as poor as it is for the situation, I think that you have to try to get greedy there and hope to tag a high tide.
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
with
yeah.
her, with Feline turnabouting right there, it's like that's definitely representing. I'm gonna go for it.
Yep.
I'm trying to push her shields down.
Yep.
And given that you probably don't have enough permission in your hand to weather the storm, and a lot of your draws off of the theoretical spiral next turn are dead because you're tapped out, like all your red blasts are no longer alive, I think you had to basically hope to get lucky and tag the high tide there, and then maybe that actually disrupts Feline's ability to go off.
Sure.
But now here we are. I assume turnabout will be resolving.
Let's see an island here. Turnabout does resolve. I believe that Tim only has 3 cards in his hand. Force, Stifle, I believe, are the last 3 cards, correct?
Yeah, it's 4/4 stifle. So. And we draw another Pact of Negation.
So we're going to see a High Tide here.
Okay.
So it changes all islands. They tap for at least an additional blue mana now. It's
Yep.
a symmetrical effect, which is
Yep.
a little bit interesting.
Yeah, Legacy is chock full with symmetrical but not really effects.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Allurin, Dream Halls,
As we are going to see a Time Spiral here.
Show and Tell.
Yeah. We're going to see a Time Spiral here with 2 blue floating. Force of Will from Tim, his best attempt. But we're going to see a Pact Negation. Yeah, so we're fully going for it now.
Yeah. Although Feline does have the
showtime.
ability. Feline does have the ability to to pay.
Yep. So lands are untapped. Shuffling is happening.
Yeah.
Now I haven't seen Time Spiral for a really long time. I know that it costs 6 and untap 6 lands.
Reshuffle graveyards into decks, draw 7. It's Time Twister plus untap 6 lands.
Okay, so should those cards over there?
The Time Spiral doesn't get shuffled in.
Okay.
The Cunning Wish was removed from the game.
Okay.
Because that's what it does. And I'm not sure what the
Maybe the other cards like something.
brainstorm. The brainstorm's got
Okay,
extracted.
perfect. Thank you.
All right.
So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6.
So from this point, all Feline's really trying to do is find enough high tides and cantrips to keep generating mana and finding more spirals, and eventually just storm kill from here.
Sure. And we see a Ponder here from Feline to start off again. She did have 2 blue floating, so there is 1 left in the pool. Tim, however, did draw, most of his draws were a blank off of the Time Spiral. The last card that he drew was a Mind Break Trap.
Okay. Again, certainly one of the better draws that he has. Actually, the best one.
So we see another Ponder here. Ponder resolves, draw a card, another Turnabout. We're going to see a bunch of lands be tapped. It's going to give Feline 10 blue. So we're going to see a Turnabout here.
So we're going into 6 blue. I presume untapping lands.
So 10 down to 6.
We're going to meditate, which means that Tim will get an additional turn, presuming that he does get a turn.
He sure will.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Tim will not get another turn.
Feline being down to 2 blue mana now because of that. We're going to see a Merchant Scroll. So I believe there should be, excuse me, there'll be 1 blue mana floating now. Meditate only costs 3.
Yeah, so generally speaking, when someone's getting a high tide in that position, it's because they already have a Time Spiral and the way and a method to push it through.
Yep. So just building to a bigger storm here. So we're going to see a high tide get cast with that last blue, so no mana floating currently for Feline. She puts the die up to 2 because those islands are going to be tapping for a bunch of blue now.
Yep. I assume the storm count at this point is just basically lethal.
Yeah, and I think these decks always kill with blue Sun Zenith now anyway. So
oh sure.
We're going to see a Ponder here, 2 blue left floating. We see a Preordain among other cards there. See a Keeper, Preordain, 1 blue left. Get those out of here. Another Preordain, and no blue left. Merchant Scroll on top, Mystery card on the bottom, Merchant Scroll. Give Feline 3 blue.
Surprised we haven't played Candelabra yet. I guess we're going to get another high tide first.
Sure. And we have 1 blue floating. Yep, there's a 3rd high tide that you speak of.
Yep.
You know what Feline could use?
What's that?
You know what Feline could use? More blue mana.
Yeah.
Now we have some.
Yeah. We were a little bit short when we only had 18. We really needed about 35.
Yeah. So now we have each one tapping for 4 blue right now, each island. So there are 3 floating right now. Candelabra put on the stack. 11 blue added. Going to untap 5 of the lands. 6 left. You're going to see a Cunning Wish. 3 blue left.
Oh, there's the blue Sun Zenith.
And we do see a blue Sun Zenith here. A stroke of genius. Imitation. Almost just as good, right? I think they're almost like... Are they almost the exact same cards outside of blue Sun Zenith costing more blue?
Probably getting shuffled back in covers you against some... Like, if you need it to find a spiral, like, mid-going off,
Okay.
then it's still a card in your deck as opposed to stroke. I guess... No, that doesn't matter either, because you're spiraling back anyway.
I feel like there's got to be a difference somewhere. Stroke was an instant as well. When we see blue Sun Zenith resolve, it gets shuffled back
I guess you can probably Zenith most of your deck, and then use your cantrips to find the Zenith again after you've generated a bunch of mana.
Sure.
would be my guess. I mean, it's just better than that shuffle and utility has to matter somehow. I mean, it's just a free roll.
Sure. So Feline is showing the counter spells in her hand as well, which are 3-pack negations. Another Candelabra coming into play, and so she's just going to finish going off here.
We're making a lot of mana.
Yeah, at this point I'm going to stop counting. I feel like she probably will keep a relatively close count of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Turnabout.
Ooh, a turnabout. 75 more mana.
Can't hurt.
We were a little short.
We see a turnabout here.
Blue fireball you for untold millions.
We're going to see a merchant scroll. Guess what that's going to find?
Could
be anything.
Could be anything. Could be a fail to find. We'd be okay.
Blue Sun Zenith, the win condition.
Yeah, like for example, you can Zenith a lot of your deck and then scroll.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
See, that's one area. Probably the most important one, honestly.
Yeah.
And so now we are going to probably see a turnabout here. Actually, we'll see the first Candelabra activation. Do.
So that's 1, 2, 3. That's.
Look at you trying to count. You're adorable.
I don't know.
You are adorable.
I believe we have in the 50s floating at this point.
That's only 20-sided die.
Oh,
yeah.
Untap my
Turn out
artifacts. So
those.
that's another 5 on. That's another 20 mana. So 60 more mana.
Lulu? Who said? You think this is boring? This is amazing. Lulu? More blue. We need sound effects.
Tim's a real trooper.
First one move to the front. Blue Sun Zenith. Target.
Fireball you for
Cards.
untold millions.
Crads. Just a
All
whole
right.
bunch. And that is it. Feline Longmore with High Tide 2-0 against Rugged Delver. What some would consider to be a tough matchup for High Tide. Easy to take it down.
Yeah, I mean, Tim's hand was wasn't particularly good that game. The biggest issue, obviously, was he wasn't able to get his nimble mongooses to threshold in an efficient manner.
Yep.
And